Yeah, I think this is a song that Mike had a big part in. So you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. So this song started out during a time of staff worship, and Carly's mentioned this before. And every Tuesday we have staff worship before our staff meeting, and we do it in the worship center. And so we're in there just kind of scattered around, and I always sit in the same spot, like at the very top row. And I was just sitting there and listening to the worship songs that were getting played, and I had this thought about throughout Scripture we see that God spoke the word at creation, that He became the Word when He came in the form of Jesus, and then He also now keeps His word. And so those three things, that God spoke the word, became the word, and now keeps His word. And over time the lyrics kind of morphed a little bit, but that was kind of the first thought of this song.
So I think this was one of maybe the only songs that the words came before the melody. And so I like a good challenge. So Mike had put this in a Google Doc, shared it, and then I think that Monday night I was at home playing the keys. I don't play the keys super well, but I can move around the keys enough to figure some things out. So I was playing the piano, and I was just meditating on that chorus, "The praise belongs to you," and just kind of flowing with it. And from that, the melody just kind of naturally came, and then I just worked on some melody for the verses, the chorus, and I worshiped with it personally at home for probably that whole week. And then that next Monday when we met for writing, I was like, "Hey guys, I got a melody idea," and played him the voice memo. And I think we maybe like tweaked a few things of how we landed some stuff on the verses, but that's kind of how the melody came to be. And then from that, we just messed with like how we don't have a bridge in this song. It's just a verse 4, and that's where we get amped up in verse 4 with some like a question or response, and then how we're responding in that moment. And so really, I mean, I don't know, am I missing anything?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you mentioned words first, and so I know, like, for this song, because most of the words were written, up to like 95% of the words were written before we got in the room together. That there wasn't like this aha moment where we figured out, oh, this is the perfect line. And because when that happens, that's when you fall in love with a song, right? Like when you figure it out together and you have this like discovery moment. And we worked on it for a couple weeks, and that first time we met, that was my thought. It was like, man, like this was fun for me to write these words, but I may have like kind of stripped the fun out of this for everybody else in a way, because there was not an aha moment for everybody as a collective, as a team, and then for us to work on it the second week and to have those 5% of that 100% that needed to be tweaked. Once that was done, that was the aha moment, and we thought, man, this is it. And so it was kind of cool to at first think, man, I don't know if I'm, not that I messed up, but I kind of maybe this isn't the best way to go about it, but then to actually see it come together anyway was pretty cool.
And even then, like kind of like you're saying, the aha moment kind of comes when you piece it all together. Even if it was a complete list of words, you still have the things like, well, do we do a verse? Do we do a chorus? Do we do a bridge? Do we repeat the bridge? Do we build the bridge? And so like having all of the words, the structure, is what's missing. That's that aha moment. And so when we figured that out, when we got the music, again, this was, most of the songs that we write are pretty collective. Most of them, we all sit in a room. Mike's our words genius. I'm a big music guy, and Carly and Marissa are amazing at melodies. And so most of it is a collective thing. But this is one that I don't think I had really much part of it all in it. I really didn't. And so for me to sit back maybe in the idea of like, oh, well, maybe if we did a verse 4 instead of a bridge, well, that may have been the only idea I had on it. And so for me to sit back and hear this one pretty much the whole way was really cool, and sometimes even to speak to that, you don't have to be a part of every single song, some of the songs can come from an idea and you stick with that. And so some of them morph, some of them change, some of them you stick with. And so this is one I think we kind of stuck with from the beginning, which I loved.
Yeah, and to speak to this too, one of our guys that plays keys with us, his name's Jared Rogers. I remember when we got to the workshop phase and we were playing through everything, like we had it figured out, but there was still something missing at the beginning. what it was we didn't know, but we just knew there was something. And Jared just played this beautiful walk up, melodic, just key progression. And I remember in that moment, I almost had tears because I was like, that right there is what we like. It's not really the period because it was at the beginning of the song, but it was like that final stamp of like, man, this is what we were missing. So
That's part of putting it all together is having the creative minds of everybody
Yep.
on the team. Like, it's not just an us thing. It's a huge team of people that help with their minds, their creativity, and so to include that and to hear they're just as good at this as we are. And so I love the fact that we can include people and allow them to bring their creative genius to it as well.
Yeah.
So, like back in the day, you had hymns. And so when you had hymns, it was like these very poetic, theologically deep and rich songs, which is awesome. And you now fast forward to today, and like I said, one's not right or wrong, but you have a much different approach to lyrics. You think about, man, well, how is someone who's not a believer going to feel about this lyric? Will they understand it? Will someone with very young faith understand it? Can they understand it in passing at a church service, right? And so with this song, not that I was trying to write a hymn, but I wanted to give some lines and some thoughts that people could chew on for a while, because I feel like that's just not around as much these days in modern worship music, especially the lines glory and grace intertwined. Man, let that wreck your mind for a little bit. What does that look like that God's glory and grace were intertwined at creation? What does that mean? What does it mean that death was traded for the divine? That we were supposed to die. We were supposed to be the ones on the cross, and yet we're given the Spirit of God. Like that's huge, right? And then the fact this was a plan that was formed before time, right? I mean, that's let that melt your brain a little bit, right? And because the more you think about it, the more you fall in love with God. And so it gives you this thing to chew on, which I think is so rare in modern worship music.
And something that you did super well in writing this is the fact that you can have these very immense, very deep thoughts, and you can wrap it back in by singing a simple chorus, by singing "The praise belongs to you and only you." Yeah. That was done beautifully, I think, in this song.
Don't know how I'm going to follow that, but basically, just I think that the words throughout this, like the verses, just paints a picture of just redemption. And I love the part in verse 4. Why look for life among the dead when you've risen, like you said? And I don't know. There's just a different. A different take on this, like the way that you kind of wrote things out, that just kind of paints a really, I don't know. When I listen to this song, I am like internally processing it all and literally envisioning in my brain, like, what this was like. And what this means. Yeah. And then, like you said, tying it all back into a very repeatable, very simple chorus, but yet something that your heart can react to, like the praise belongs to you, my allegiance belongs to you, my everything belongs to you and only you. Right. And so, I don't know, like that, I think it's just really congregational, but also like paints this picture like that you kind of, I don't know, you think about it even after the song is over, like your brain is just like, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of like we respond to each of those moments
in
time. It's like
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too, this song is a good example. I think all of our songs, obviously, we aim for this, but and we've talked about this a million times about how we want to aim to write songs that we could either picture singing around the throne of God. And then, or also, man, is this something somebody could sing on their deathbed, right? Like as they are about to enter heaven, is this something that they could sing and comfort not only themselves, but people around them, right? Like something that lasts a lifetime. Yeah. And so for me, this was one of those songs that I thought, man, I could picture singing this around the throne of God. Or I could picture this, if I'm blessed enough to live to 90 and I'm on my deathbed, this is something I want to be singing, right? And so it's something that lasts.